All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start here with the dollar index because if you're gonna be trading U.S. pairs, the dollar index is definitely a great chart to keep up on because, like any other chart, this shows the strength of the dollar and kind of where it's headed. Um, and so, if you're gonna be trading any U.S. pair, you can kind of see how the dollar is doing to see with if it's gonna help you out in your analysis in any other US pair that you're checking out. So here with the dollar index, what I've been seeing is it's been in a bullish trend on the weekly. So you can see that I drew this channel right in here. You can see the blue lines, and it has been staying pretty true to this level for quite some time. I don't remember if I had posted my analysis on Euro USD, but it actually correlates exactly with this pair. But what I've been seeing here is that right now where it's at, it's been in that bullish channel, and it's reaching there for the top of that channel there on the weekly. But you can also see that it is testing this seller right over here. That's right at the 99.0 handle, just about right in that zone. And you can see how right now he's currently challenging him. Uh, so because of that, I'm kind of starting to get some indication here that we're going to see what I've been looking for as far as to see on the dollar index is to see some loss of strength with the buyers, and I want to see the sellers start to come back in. So of course it can help me in my confirmations with my other trades. So here I'm looking for a reversal. I'm seeing that it's hitting this top channel right up here. It is also going ahead and testing this seller right at the 99.00 handle. And so after that, I'm going to go ahead. This is the weekly time frame. So I'm going to break it down, and I'm just going to jump right over here to the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, of course, I'm looking for signs that the buyers are starting to lose momentum and the sellers are starting to come back in. So I haven't seen too many strong signs. I mean, I have seen some things here, but of course, the buyers still have been able to surpass 100% retracement of the sellers. But a few things here that I did see that did pique my interest with the pair is that this is, of course, this is right below that 99 handle. This is at 98.94. This resistance level that I went ahead and marked down here on my chart. But we can kind of see that there was a strong rejection here on the 4-hour. I like to see those wicks that just show that price tried to reach right up in this area, but was unable to do so, and of course ended up failing. Kind of showing that nice movement there that really wasn't able to hold. But of course, from there, we didn't see any sort of reversal, and they did continue higher than this guy right over here. But at market open, we're starting to see, I like this right here. That's a good sign. That's a doji candlestick that is showing the wick here is showing that there was, some sort of rejection, but price wasn't able. Ultimately, it reached to this height here, but it wasn't able to hold, and ended up closing there. Which is, if you look at candlestick formations, this here is an indication of a kind of small reversal in the market. So, is a sign that it could potentially start to reverse here. But of course, we want to see a little bit more momentum on the seller's end before we go and enter. Because as you can see, the buyers are still here. But of course, they have been squeezing, but the sellers just don't have quite the momentum I'd like to see just yet before I'd want to enter the market. But definitely, this is overall, this is good sign. What I want to see happen here, I want to see the buyers start to slow out, start to fail to make higher highs, and ultimately the sellers to come back in and start to show some strength and bring that market down. a few things here that of course keep an eye out for signs, of course, on the smaller time frames. And right now, that on the 15-minute chart, it is currently just sitting right above those 9.9 point handles there, or sitting right at, I should say. So we'll see how it reacts once it either breaks, or if we see some strength going to the upside. But along with that, on Euro USD, this pair here directly correlates with the dollar index. So sorry I have a little messy here for you guys, but as you can see, right, this is the weekly time frame on Euro USD, and like I mentioned, it correlates with the the US dollar. You can also see that, you know, the US dollar is in a bullish channel and the euro is in a bearish channel. And along with the dollar, you can see that it has more than bottomed out here at this bottom trend line that it's at. It's also right in this area, right over here, testing this previous buyer, right? And so here, another good thing that I'm looking for is, you know, since this directly correlates with the U.S. dollar, if this goes to the upside, it will directly correlate with the U.S. dollar to go to the downside. So that's something that I'm watching there. Here.
Okay. I didn't know if we had one of them, but I don't guess we do.
All right, and then one thing I did want to go ahead and point out here is that we do have to remember there's been a lot of doubt in the U.S. dollar. Of course, there's been talks of recession, and the main things that have been holding the U.S. dollar strength is we have had really low unemployment rates here in the U.S., and along with that, we also and just as we saw last week, we had higher consumer confidence reports as well. So with those reports that had came out last week, I believe that's why we had seen, you know, the strength in the U.S. dollar. But ultimately, there are more things on the side that are pointing to kind of have some doubt in that U.S. dollar. So I'm hoping to see that this week. I know we saw it last week get strength, and we weren't looking for that. But this week, I'm hoping to see a shift in that confidence there, and hopefully we can go ahead and execute our pairs, and hopefully we can get some good movement this week. But I'm gonna go ahead and move over here to pound USD. Or do you guys have any, before I move on, do you guys have any questions on that there? See here, you could throw it in the chat as well.
Oops. How does the trade war affect the US dollar?
Alrighty, well, I'll go ahead and I'll move on, and you guys can always hit me up in the chat room as well. But
it makes it unstable.
Okay, awesome, that's good. And then also, so I know last week I went ahead and spoke about pound USD. So this pair, like I had mentioned last week, it went ahead and bottomed out on the monthly chart. It's sitting at record lows currently on the monthly. And so this is a pair that, of course, I did get excited about. We did see some movement to the upside last week, but ultimately it ended up coming back down. So with this pair bottomed out, we're going to hope that with this upcoming week, you know, with support with the dollar index as well as the Euro USD kind of showing that correlation, we're going to hope that we're going to see some weakness in the US dollar, which of course will help out the pound this week. So of course, previous weekly failed to make a lower low. So if you're looking at it here on the weekly, last week, you know, we had we've been having the past 3 weeks, or the past 2 weeks, they had went up here. And so we saw some good strength after hitting these record lows, or this record low zone. because it hasn't quite reached the bottom of where it has hit. So the area that I'm kind of staying cautious of that it could reach for is right here down in the 1.1944 handle, as it had previously um, got its strength from that level back in 2016. So I'm still keeping mindful of that level. So same with this pair. I'm waiting to see what happens if we can see some good buyer momentum, some good buyer strength. We can look to buy this pair, but we have to keep in mind that it could reach for that level down there before continuing up to the upside. But with the dollar index showing signs of weakness, if it does turn over, I believe it'll be a good trade this week. So we'll have to keep our eyes out for that, of course. Let me see here. Test. Alrighty. So here, really, guys, just go ahead and watch for signs of reversal. Watch how the market is gauging momentum and see, and just keep an eye out for key levels where it can retest. But ultimately, keep your eyes on the smaller time frames. Watch that momentum. Watch it gauge. If we start to see, these sellers slow down here, ultimately we can see if they are going to bring it down a little further and break this little consolidation that it's in, or if we're going to start to see some buyer strength right in here. We'll have to wait, but ultimately we're going to want to beat this guy right up here, and of course continue to make higher highs and higher lows, to ultimately show those signs of a full reversal on the bigger time frames, because that's what we want to look for. We want to see the bigger time frames showing us which direction it's moving, what it's laying out, and then of course we can use these smaller time frames to go ahead and make that entry. Alrighty. So from there as well, I'm going to move over to the last pair, which is USD CAD. So this one, I know I've been talking about this one a lot. We had some good momentum last week, of course, to the downside, but ultimately after that consumer confidence report came out, we did see the buyers start to come in. And I've been watching this pair here for a while. Like I mentioned, it had broken this bullish trend line that it was on here previously, and this is kind of where I started talking about it when it had broke right in this area, and we were looking for areas to get into this trade here. Ultimately, we can kind of see how it's been right in this range here, and it's been kind of ranging right in this area. So this is the 4-hour chart here. So kind of right in this area, right in here, it's been ranging, along with maybe we can say right in this area, right in there, with, of course, we have a few breakouts there, a few fake outs, but ultimately it hasn't been able to hold either above these levels or below these levels for majority of time, and kind of hold those levels there. So this pair last week, it did go ahead and gain some buyer momentum when we saw some strength in the US dollar. But with signs of reversal on the dollar index, of course, and I know I keep referring back to it there, we're gonna want to look to short this pair. Of course, like I mentioned, it's been right in this handle, right in this area, right over here for some time. It's been failing to break that 1.332 handle, and break straight right through it. And of course, it is still testing this trend line right up here as well. So this pair as well, I'm going to want to look to see some signs of reversal. We're already seeing some sort of strength there here on the smaller time frames, but ultimately we're going to want to see a break of this range that it has been in here, from right about here to right in here. We're going to want to see a break of that to ultimately start to create lower lows. As you can see here, it has failed to make lower lows each time since it has broken this trend line here. So we're going to want to see a lower low of this level here, but we can also target it as well, or target right into this range, watch for a break and retest, and then we can see if it can reach these levels, and of course reach new lows as well, is what we're aiming for there ultimately. But just to recap, I'm gonna go over just the kind of bullet points I went ahead and had here. So, and I'll start from the top, which is, or I'll start with USD CAD. So this pair had shown signs of reversal in the previous weeks after failing to break the 1.332 handle. It had gained strength with the US dollar due to news, but I believe it won't be enough to hold this pair. And of course, hold it and keep pushing it to the upside. Buyer momentum has slowed, as you can see there. It's been in some consolidation. And then also on the daily, of course, I also saw that doji candlestick that formed yesterday. So we can see this was yesterday, which is Sunday's candle that went ahead and opened at 2 p.m. yesterday Pacific Standard Time. And you can see here it did try to reach for new highs, but ultimately got rejected. Here's today's candle, so we're going to want to keep an eye on it. I wouldn't say jump into the pair now, but of course, look for those signs of reversal there. And so just to recap here, dollar index, I had a few notes. So it's been in a bullish trend on the weekly. It has tested it's currently testing previous sellers on the weekly right at the 99.00 handle, which I had mentioned is this guy right over here. If you look to the left, because if you look to the left, it is going to show you what significant levels are going to be happening on the right side. History always repeats itself, and of course, people have emotional ties to these levels in the market, so which is why we see, these certain reactions at these key levels. Along with that here, there was a rejection of that level on the 4-hour. So we saw this candlestick right in here. And we also saw that doji right in there as well. So overall, keep an eye out for signs of reversal on the smaller time frames. And like I mentioned on the 15-minute chart, it is currently sitting at that level, so we can see what's going to happen. So keep a close eye here on the dollar index, and you can actually trade the dollar index as well. Works like any other pair. Over to Euro USD. So of course I mentioned that this pair here correlates with the dollar index, and is currently in a bearish channel on the weekly. It's bottomed out in this channel and is what I am using as another confirmation with those pairs that I went over that I'm going to be watching for the week. We will see, I am looking for downside in the dollar this week. And like I mentioned, remember, there's been a lot of doubt in the US dollar and talks of recession. The main things that were holding the US dollar strength is the low unemployment rates and the higher consumer confidence reports, which is what gave the dollar strength last week. But ultimately, we're going to see if it's enough to hold this week. And last one here I went over is the pound USD. So this pair here has bottomed out and is sitting at record lows on the monthly. Previous week failed to make a lower low, lower close. Of course, wait for signs of reversal and watch for a possible retest of that 1.19440 level, which I had mentioned is, where it had previously tested here in 2016. And yeah, that's just about it there. That's kind of what I wrote down for the week. I'm pretty excited this week. I'm just waiting for, of course, more signs of tell to see where this market's going to be heading. But excited. There's some good opportunity this week. definitely some key moments that we can capitalize on if we take advantage. But keep your eye out, and of course, I will be doing a update on Wednesday to see what happened with these pairs in about 2 days. Of course, if I get enough engagement, I'm always open to doing another session here tomorrow just to see what's happened within the day. These markets have kind of proved to be pretty volatile in the last week. So, we have been getting some good movement day by day. So we can keep up to date on it as well. And you guys can always reach out to me with any questions. But any questions there on those pairs? No. All righty. Well, that's it for the day. Thank you, Michael. There. Let me see here, but yeah, I will go ahead. I am going to be putting the recording up here in the next few minutes or the next 30 minutes or so. So the replay will be up if you want to rewatch it, maybe see anything that maybe you might have missed. I know something that helps me. Thank you, Jamie. I know something that helps me is rewatching these videos because every time you go through, you might learn something that you might have missed because I know I went through that pretty quick. But thank you guys for hopping on. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, shoot me some messages there in the group. But I hope you guys have a great Labor Day. And yeah, look forward to hearing from you guys, seeing what you guys thought. If you have any questions, and let's see if we could possibly get on another call tomorrow. All right, guys. You guys have a great day.